Hi everyone, Rick Bray with BT BOCES Instructional Support, and in this video I'd like to talk with you about the student completion guidelines within Schoology. Student completion guidelines are a way of having students complete activities in a particular order or ensure that they complete them before moving on. And this is done within a folder in your course. So here I have a course set up and I'm going to go into this folder, and you can see I have a lot of different items here, and that's all well and good. To start the student completion guidelines, you want to select Options at the top of the page and then select Student Completion. That'll bring up this pop-up window, and the first thing you notice is there is a place to check in the upper right-hand corner-ish area where it says requirements must be completed in sequential order. If that's checked, that means when I make this list of rules, the students have to go through the rules in the order that I created them. If I leave this box unchecked, the students still have to complete things, but they can free float between them as they see fit. So it really depends on what you're doing with these completion rules, whether that's on or off. For me, I leave it on the way I set it up. Here it says to add a requirement. When I click on that, it's going to bring up this requirement, and it says for, and this drop down has everything that's within your folder, every item that's there. So I can start with the first item for this lab, a member must, and under this drop down you'll have a variety of options depending on what that thing is. Since this is a Schoology item, it's an assessment, or excuse me, it's an assignment, I can either require that the student must view it, must post a comment or reply, like with a discussion. They must make a submission, or they must score at least. So maybe I'm going to say they have to make a submission. I'll add my next requirement. That'll be the next lab in line. Maybe I'll say that they have to score at least an 85. That way they are showing me mastery. And I can keep going through every item on the list and say that they, now, excuse me, that's a bad example. Here, this is a video, and you'll notice the only option I have is to view. When you're looking at an item that's not a Schoology item, like a web link or a video in this case, you can only view the item as your only choice. But basically, you'll keep adding requirements for every single item that you want to mandate, if you will, within your folder. And when you have that all completed, simply click Save Changes at the bottom. So now you can see when this reloads, underneath each of these items that had a requirement, it says what that requirement is. They must make a submission, they must score at least an 85, they must view. That's how you know what has a requirement and what doesn't. From the student standpoint, this is what's nice about student completion guidelines. If you have it set in sequential order, what'll happen is all of the items will be there, but they'll be gray except for the top one that'll be blue. And once the student, in this case, makes a submission, that'll unlock the next one, and it continues down the chain. So you can also, within Schoology, I've made student completion guidelines within a folder. If you go back to your materials page, you can again say student completion guidelines from folder to folder. So you know the idea here is I could say a student has to complete everything in unit 13 before going on to 14, 15, etc. So that's really great if you're looking for a student-paced environment, student-paced learning environment. This is also a really good tool for station-based work, where you want to make sure that students unlock all the items in one station before moving to the next. So there you go. That's student completion guidelines within Schoology. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email either Taylor or myself, and thank you for watching.